wait every year thinking they're about to call your name for casting.
Oh, Ashton, they can't handle my moves.
Oh my god. Season 34 of Dancing with the Stars premieres Tuesday, September 16th at 8 p.m. Eastern on ABC and Disney Plus. And streams the next day on Hulu.
Well, we'll be watching. And up next, all the top stories and latest news right here on ABC News Live, where the news and my dance moves never stops.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Bell Big Boxes. More food, more flavor. Only at Del Taco. At Pechanga Resort Casino in Temecula, you can stay and play, wine and dine, soar, and so much more. Play your perfect combination at Pechanga Resort Casino.
It's not canceled plans. It's story time with Panera Soup at home. It just feels good.
Johnson, thanks so much for joining us. We have a lot of news to get to, but we do begin with the extreme weather. Flash floods, damaging winds, and heavy rain from Pennsylvania all the way up to Maine. And in the west, heavy wildfire smoke is affecting air quality as it spreads from Canada to the plains. All of this as the Hawaiian Islands brace for Hurricane Kiko. For more, let's go to meteorologist Jeff Banson, who's tracking it all. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, you did my job for me right there. I don't have to talk about it.
That's right.
No.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, we're going to start here in the northeast where we have a very sharp cold front coming through this afternoon. That's going to bring the chance for some severe storms. We're talking strong gusty winds, hail, and maybe even a few weak spin-up tornadoes. Here's the front right here. Really, after about 2 o'clock, I say all bets are off. But of course, that buys you a little bit more time in places like New England, Boston, down to, say, New Haven and Hartford. But eventually, this front bears down the winds here as we head towards this evening and into tonight. Now, the storm is dying down overnight, but the rain will be sticking around, and being that it's not exactly the fastest moving front here, we're also looking at the potential for some flash flooding. There is that severe risk. And the yellow here from Portland down to Hartford, New York, Philly, those are the greatest spots to see everything that I talked about at the beginning there. Pretty much the area is similar for the threat of severe rain. Also, Fairfield County, Connecticut, down towards the Carolina area. We shift gears to the Pacific Northwest, all the way down to the Rockies. They are dealing with poor air quality because of this persistent wildfire smoke that really has not been letting up over the last couple of days yet. So from areas like Spokane all the way down to Jackson and Palm Springs, in parts of western Idaho into western Montana as well. Those are the areas where, listen, if you suffer from asthma or any other respiratory ailments, you want to take it easy out there today. We look at the tropics. First, starting in the Atlantic here, some good news. This area that at one point had a 90% chance to develop into Gabrielle has been downgraded to only a 30% chance by the National Hurricane Center. So some excellent news here. It still could become maybe a tropical depression later as we get into next week. It's going to approach the Lesser Antilles by the midweek. That's the September 10th into the 11th time frame. And then it could go into the Caribbean. It could do a couple of different things. But the fact that it's looking much weaker because of some very unfavorable air is excellent news. Again, it's the peak of hurricane season over the next week or so. So the fact that, you know, the tropical Atlantic looking so quiet, very, very favorable. We shift over to the Pacific now. You've got one area here, 30% chance to develop into the next storm. We've got Kiko here looking very healthy right now, and maybe it gets trending towards Hawaii. However,
You don't like the,
as anybody who's familiar with the tropics in the Pacific, this is where you get into that cold warm here. So a lot of times we've seen some very healthy looking storms like Kiko making their path, making their towards Hawaii. They do wind up weakening. That is looking like the tendency this time as well, and also passing a little bit further north of the island. Either way, they're probably still going to get some rain, wind, you know, coastal effects, some high waves and rip currents as well. So maybe if you have a vacation to Hawaii in the next week, is something you're going to have to monitor very closely. It could also disrupt some air travel as well.
Something to track. I actually have a lot of family there in Hawaii, so we'll be watching it very closely. Jeff, thank you. We turn now to Chicago, bracing for possible expanded ICE operations today. According to officials, federal agents are expected to operate out of the Great Lakes Naval Base just north of the city as part of the Trump administration's efforts to ramp up ICE and the DHS operations. Illinois Governor Jamie Pritzker saying the president's strategy is to cause mayhem on the ground. State and city leaders are asking residents to take precautions ahead of the anticipated crackdown. NBC's Alex Stone has more from Chicago.
It's the big unknown here in Chicago right now that even though the president has said that federal agents are coming to Chicago, nobody knows when or if they really will be coming. There are several locations really that the focus of what it appears will be going on. One of them is at Naval Station Great Lakes, where that is believed to be the headquarters of where the federal agents are going to be converging and coming out of, possibly as early as today. One of the other places is an ice processing center in a suburb. That ice processing center is now boarded up. The windows are boarded up in case protesters were to try to break those windows in that building. And then the third location is here outside of the federal building, the courthouse in downtown Chicago, now with anti-scale fencing around it. You remember in LA, the federal building was the target of a lot of the protests there that went on day after day in June, when federal agents and then the National Guard came in and active duty Marines into Los Angeles. So the federal building here, they are protecting as well in case the same thing were to go on here. But at this point, there's no indication that anything is getting going today, even though the federal government has indicated that it may be imminent this weekend, and there are those community groups that are actually texting one another, trying to keep an eye out for any federal agent movement. They say they haven't seen anything yet. With
Alex Stone, we appreciate it. Thanks. In Washington, President Trump telling Americans to be patient in the wake of a disappointing jobs report. The new numbers showing only 22,000 jobs were added and the unemployment rate rising to 4.3% in the month of August. The dramatic slowdown in hiring comes as inflation rises while the Trump administration's tariffs are taking hold. ABC senior White House correspondent Selena Wang following the latest for us from Washington. Selena, always great to see you. So President Trump, we know, fired the previous Bureau of Labor Statistics commissioner after claiming without evidence that the numbers had been manipulated in some way. What are we hearing from the president now?
Hey, Whit, great to be with you. Yeah, the president is really brushing off this very bleak jobs report, saying that the economic growth is here to come, that Americans just need to wait. We also heard from his top economic advisor, Kevin Hassett, who called these numbers, quote, puzzling, saying that he's looking forward to new leadership at the Bureau of Labor Statistics so that the numbers are, quote, more reliable. But look, many economists say that it is Trump's own policies, his immigration crackdown, his trade war, that is really causing some real cracks in the economy. So let's take a look at tariffs first of all. Now, the president insists that his tariff policy is going to revive American manufacturing, but the numbers here tell a very different story. If we dig into the manufacturing sector, it shows 78,000 losses in manufacturing since the start of the year as tariffs have driven up the costs of inputs and supplies.
Yeah, so I usually, like, what I'm looking for right now is more of like the raw form, giant chunks. Like, but I do like the spheres too, so I might start with the spheres. Like, I love that one because it's so massively bigger than anything, right?
You ever see petrified wood?
Right. Yeah. So like what I've been attracted to lately is
So look, I'm going to show you something, okay? I'm going to show you this right here.
Hi, Sam.
Hi. Is that the economy is flashing yellow, not flashing red, but flashing yellow. And Diane Swalk, who is the chief U.S. economist at KPMG, she said, look, we think the economy is going to narrowly skirt a recession, but that doesn't mean it's going to be easy for workers. In fact, she says it's going to be very difficult, and that already you have middle income and low income households that are feeling a whole lot of stress.
All right, Selena Wang for us. Thank you. Meantime, President Trump denies knowing anything about a top-secret SEAL Team 6 mission into North Korea that the New York Times reported happened in 2019 during his first administration.
Very impressive post-big mission.
Yeah. The administration was engaged with North Korea on that incident since it happened recently. And then can you share some recollections?
I don't know anything about it. No. I'd have to. I could look, but I know nothing about it.
Can you confirm that it happened?
I don't know anything about it. I'm hearing it now for the first time.
According to the New York Times report, the objective was to plant an electronic device that would allow the U.S. to intercept communications of North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un amid the high-level nuclear talks that he was having with President Trump at the time. ABC's Stephanie Ramos spoke with one of the reporters who broke the story.
Honestly, I didn't believe that we would put American troops on North Korean soil because it was too late. It seemed like even if there was intelligence to gain the risk of a hostage situation or even escalating hostilities with someone who has nuclear weapons, it seemed like that juice was not worth the squeeze. But as we reported it out, we kept finding more and more details that showed that's exactly what they did.
The Times saying that officials told them it is not clear if North Korea ever found out about this classified mission. President Trump has signed an executive order rebranding the Defense Department as the Department of War. Trump says the rebrand has been in the works for months and that the Department of Defense name only came to be when the country went woke. That was his quote. The Department of War is the agency that was originally responsible for maintenance and oversight of the military, but was dissolved in 1947 when separate branches of the military were split into independent agencies. Former President Harry Truman later regrouped the national military establishment in 1949 under the name Department of Defense. The formal renaming of the department would require an act of Congress, but the president says that his administration is going forward with the name change very strongly. Well, Florida and New York are now taking significant action in very different ways when it comes to vaccination policies as medical providers try to sort out new federal changes for COVID shots. ABC's Olivia Rubin has details.
Wait, good morning. States today trying to get around the Trump administration's new restrictions on the COVID-19 vaccine. The governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, signing an executive order allowing pharmacists in the state to give the shot essentially to anyone who wants it. Colorado and New Mexico have done the same, all efforts to restore access to the vaccine after the FDA severely restricted it, approving a new version of the shot only for adults 65 or older or young people with an underlying condition. The CDC also has not signed off on any recommendations for this year's COVID vaccines, and these actions are creating some new roadblocks for millions of Americans who may want to get a vaccine. It's causing confusion at the drugstore. Providers like CVS saying they're now going state by state with how to administer the shot. All of this, of course, unfolding under the leadership of HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has pushed false information that is now reverberating beyond just COVID. Florida this week becoming the first state ever to say they will try to drop all vaccine mandates in the state. Think chickenpox, measles, mumps, including for children to attend school. Now, pediatricians in that state sounding the alarm, saying, quote, theme parks, grocery stores, movie theaters, sports arenas will all become places for contagious diseases to spread easily.
Olivia Rubin, thank you. Colorado officials are investigating a deadly small plane crash while doing takeoffs and landings near Colorado's Centennial Airport. New video shows what appears to be the plane circling in the sky minutes before crashing. The NTSB says there was no distress call from the pilot moments before impact. The aircraft was on fire when emergency crews arrived to the site. No one on the ground was injured. Now to the important news for travelers about that proposed rule to compensate passengers for delays and cancellations. Melissa Don has details.
Hey, Whit, While no one enjoys delayed or canceled flights, this airline compensation plan, first brought on by the Biden administration, is getting scrapped. The Department of Transportation says it's dropping the proposal, which sought to require airlines to compensate passengers starting at $200 upwards to even $775, plus lodging, meals, and other travel expenses when there were cancellations or significant delays caused by the airline, including mechanical or even system failures. But now, under the Trump administration, the DOT is looking to scrap that plan. Airlines have pushed back. The industry trade group Airlines for America welcomes the move, saying this rule could have led to higher airfares. Now, currently, airlines are required to offer refunds if a flight is canceled and a passenger chooses not to fly, but that is not expected to change. So the Consumer Federation of America points to just how expensive delays and cancellations can become when having to pay for these unexpected travel expenses and even possible rebooking fees. So as for consumers, experts say know your rights. There's a DOT consumer rights dashboard that lists every U.S. airline and what they are expected to provide for passengers. With
Melissa Don, thank you for that. Coming up, are we in a crisis of rudeness, the bad behavior that may be part of a generational trend? Also had the second biggest jackpot in U.S. history, the Powerball prize soaring to new heights ahead of tonight's drawing.
No big boxes. More food, more flavor. Only at Del Taco.
State tomorrow, and then how photogenic. According to the Pew Research Center, 47% of U.S. adults recently surveyed say that the way people behave in public these days is ruder than before the COVID-19 pandemic. Researchers looked at a variety of behaviors in social settings, like taking a photo or video of someone without their permission, displaying profanity, smoking, or playing music around others, or bringing a child into a place typically for adults. So are we in a crisis of rudeness? That's what Ali Volpe, correspondent at Fox, dove into recently. Ali, it's great to have you. So based on your research here and your reporting and the experts you spoke with, what's driving this rise in rudeness in younger generations?
Right. I mean, it's almost a comfort to know that every generation thinks the one that follows it is a bit more rude. I talked to an etiquette expert who comes from a long line of etiquette experts, and for 5 generations, this question keeps popping up and popping up. But I think what we're seeing now is technology. It's everywhere. Screens are everywhere. There's always something that is wanting our attention, and we're giving those screens our attention. And so we're not really paying attention or engaging with the people around us. We might not be paying attention to how we're treating other people. And I think that's what's really driving a supposed rise in rudeness these days.
So here's something I heard recently, that this etiquette maven, what exactly is that? What qualifies them to tell us which generation is ruder than the other?
Absolutely. So Emily Post in the 1920s wrote the first edition of her book Etiquette. And as you can imagine, things were a little bit different. She came of age in the Gilded Age, and there was a lot of social rules and social norms. So a lot of it was, who women were allowed to walk on the street with, where to go at night, and how to relate people to weddings. And from Emily, she's had a generation of family members, who followed in her lead and run the Emily Post Institute. So these days, Lizzie, the expert I spoke to, doesn't really talk so much about where to put your fork and knife, but how to treat people with respect. And that's a really important thing about the term etiquette, because it can evoke that really duffy, old-timey thinking, but really it's about how are my actions impacting other people.
Yeah, I have 2 girls in middle school. We have these conversations all the time. I feel like they're giving me the Gen Z stare right now, just in this conversation, the eye roll. So what are some of the broader consequences of Americans losing their manners?
Right. I mean, when you see something rude, it impacts your mood, it impacts your behavior. You don't want to be nice to somebody who's being rude to you. And with that in mind, researchers have actually found that rudeness is contagious. So once you witness something rude happening, it kind of ruins your day, and you're more likely to be rude to other people. So rudeness has far-reaching consequences. If we're not thinking about how other people might be impacted by the words that we say, by the actions that we're doing, this could have a really, a huge ripple effect.
Rudeness is contagious. That's definitely something to watch. So what do we do to fix it? What's the medicine here to heal us?
Right. And again, what the experts have told me is to really pay attention to the behavior you're putting out into the world, especially if you have young kids, they're watching you, and to explain to them why you're doing certain things, why you cover your mouth when you sneeze, why you don't chew with your mouth open. And those are pretty small things, but it can go to bigger things about why you treat people with respect, why, especially when people are different than you still treat them with respect. So we have a real opportunity to model good behavior for other people. And so it really involves taking a look at how we are acting in the world. Were we short with a barista at the coffee shop? Maybe that's an opportunity to change and have a little bit more patience. Another researcher told me that the number one reason for people being rude is when they're stressed and overwhelmed. So to really take a minute when we are feeling stressed, it's not the other person's fault that maybe we're running late or that we're in traffic, and to have a little bit more grace with people.
Important reminders. Ali Volpe, it was great talking to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, you know what would not be rude? Winning the lottery and then sharing it, say, with me. Just a thought. Tonight, you could be a whole lot richer thanks to the $1.8 billion Powerball jackpot. Everybody's talking about what they would do with all that money, and our auction sing is crunching the numbers.
With this Powerball, it's just begging to be claimed at this point. The mania continuing to this weekend as tonight's jackpot has been raised to a jaw-dropping $1.8 billion. It's the second largest jackpot in U.S. history, only behind that record-setting $2.04 billion prize won in California back in 2022. On Friday, game officials bumped the jackpots from $1.7 to $1.8 billion, with the cash offer option of $826.4 million before taxes. Whoever wins gets a choice. Take the lump sum now or one payment up front, followed by annual installments that grow 5% for the next 30 years. This is the 42nd drawing since the jackpot was won last back in May. It's already produced more than $101 million winning tickets, and more than 1,000 winning tickets worth more than $50,000 or more. So if you shoot for the moon, you still may land up with a handful of stars if you choose to play. Now your odds of hitting that jackpot still just 1 in 292 million. Or think of it this way, 1.8 billion lands 64 flights into space on Blue Origin. And if you weren't already hungry, if you brought that 1.8 billion to the bodega downstairs, we'd be feasting. I'm talking 300 million bacon, egg, and cheeses, and that's nearly enough for every American. We did up to 80%.
Wait, I love it. That's a big group breakfast. Ashin Singh for us. Thank you. Coming up here on ABC News Live, are you ready for some football? The big college games underway, and a look at Sunday matchup. Weekend sports wrap up next.
L Big Boxes. More food, more flavor. Only at Del Taco.
back to week 2 of college football. Texas quarterback Arch Manning looking to avenge his rough start against Ohio State last week. He will make his first home start today when the Longhorns take on San Jose State. A big SEC matchup today. Ole Miss and Kentucky play this afternoon. And over in the Big Ten, the Michigan Wolverines go up against the Oklahoma Sooners. Those three big matchups in a great triple feature today on the ABC networks, ESPN, and some others. All right, now to the NFL season and a rare Friday night game in an even rarer location, Sao Paulo, Brazil. Mike Ajachi has all the highlights. The NFL kicked off
showcase. The Chiefs squaring off against the Chargers in Sao Paulo, Brazil, a rematch between two playoff contenders from last season. Chargers QB Justin Herbert was nothing short of spectacular. He tossed 3 touchdowns and racked up over 300 passing yards, carving up the Chiefs defense with sharp throws and clutch playmaking. Wideout Quentin Johnson hauled in 2 of those scores, while Keenan Allen added another for the Chargers. The drama ran deep, highlighted by Herbert's late-game 19-yard scramble on 3rd and 14 to ice the win, snapping KC's 17-game win streak in close contests. Patrick Mahomes kept the Chiefs alive, engineering a late rally with a scrambling touchdown, but KC's hopes slipped away early after an injury to young receiver Xavier Worthy on the first drive and a missed extra point. The Chargers beat the Chiefs 27-21. Now, more on that drama, Travis Kelce on the receiving end of this hit to the face by Chargers Tier Tart, who wasn't ejected for this. Officials say because it was an open-hand contact to the head, it wasn't considered a disqualifying action. Now, looking ahead, Sunday's NFL slate is packed, with the Bills hosting the Ravens in prime time, the Lions taking a trip to Lambeau Field, and Aaron Rodgers making the Steelers debut against the team who released him the All Jets.
That'll be one to watch. Ike, thank you. And today, all eyes on the U.S. Open, where the women's finals will be played later today. Amanda Anisimova, born in Freehold, New Jersey, will face off against Arena Sabalenka today. Sabalenka, the reigning U.S. Open women's singles champion. All the action starting at 4 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. I'm Whit Johnson. Thank you so much for streaming with us. The news never stops. You can find us anywhere you stream live news, or if you're on the go, we're on the ABC News app and abcnews.com. Up next, the Weekend View, and it starts right now.
Coming up on the Weekend View, Bachelor in Paradise contestants expose the most shocking secrets from their past. How Victoria Beckham is going viral for her brutally honest response to her husband David's epic fail, and is one of the most notoriously toxic couples in pop culture history about to reunite? It all starts now on the Weekend
That was very good, the way you did. Thank you. Like a Rocky thing. Thanks very much.
You get where she moves her own hands in victory.
So, Bachelor in Paradise contestants usually aren't shy about exposing themselves. Really? But this week, host Jessica take it to another level. Watch.
Each of you is going to write down your biggest secret. Something from your past that nobody here knows. I had an OnlyFans account for my feet. I've hooked up with someone 25 years older than me. I found $500,000 and kept it. I slept with another person in my home while my partner was in another room.
I don't believe at least 2 of those. Well, I'd like to know where you find $500,000. That can't be true. I don't know. Maybe. Where would you find $500,000? No, maybe after a bank robbery? Would you tell anyone? No. Pablo Escobar's old farms. I just saw like a Colombian farmer found millions of dollars because he was keeping. That's how So they're sharing secrets and friends, apparently. So I don't know. Do you do that? What do you guys think about that?
Those aren't their friends. It's their competition.
Well, whatever they are.
We also missed one of the best ones. I spent a summer as a playmate for a female couple. One of the men did. I'm not even totally sure what that means, but I'm speculating.
Yeah, but you know what? The partner one, the sleeping in another room, it ends up that she was, it was a grandma sleeping with her grandchild because he was sick in another room. So some of them sound better than they are.
So maybe the guy found the $500,000 in the IRA account. Exactly. I see. Okay, so these are not actual friends. I do tell my best friend just about everything. My biggest fear is that saying things from their past all of a sudden.
They also make, so it's fine.
No, I will smother him with a pillow.
I don't think we can say that.
I do tell my best friend Regina everything, but now you have me thinking about that. She's a vault though, man. She's a vault.
Tell your husband everything?
No. I can't tell him about my purchases. Some of my purchases. Really? Like what? What are you buying that he doesn't know about?
Well, he's gonna hear if she says it here.
A lot. He's not much. A lot of things. He's very frugal. He's very frugal. So when he asks me how much something costs, I say market price. That's good. Market price. It's like when you get a lobster. Yeah. Market price. I buy things online and I have them delivered to the hotel here or to the View offices, and then I go home and pretend I got them from the View. This was a giveaway. Oh, you know, they give us clothes. Really? Good one. Yeah. I'm going to use that. Well, you're not allowed to take things from here. Exactly.
But even you know that. No, but all it takes is getting burned once by telling someone a secret and it getting around before you learn that you should really only tell your secrets to like your closest friend and your spouse.
Yeah.
If you've been burned, you know.
I feel like if you want to keep a secret, you should say to me, this is a secret, or don't say anything.
Toy, that doesn't even apply to you. We had a secret thing that we did as a group, and we were told, don't tell that. You walked right from the room you heard it into Whoopi, and
You did do that, Joy.
we all witnessed it.
I didn't know it was a secret.
No, they started the email said secret.
I didn't know
The
that.
only caveat was do not tell Whoopi.
And you told me, no, Whoopi, I can't come to that thing. So what are you learning about me? Don't tell me anything you don't want me to repeat. All right, former bachelor Colton Underwood made headlines with this confession about his brief sexual history back in season 14. Watch.
I did only have one serious relationship coming into this, and I haven't had that many girlfriends or that many dates because of sports. And because of that, I am a virgin.
Really?
Yeah. It was tough. You know, I'm not even sure, to be honest with you. My dad knows. Because it is something that I haven't, shared openly to a lot of people. There's only a handful of people that know.
But now he wants people to be completely open about their virginity as co-host of a new dating series called Are You My First? The press release claims it's gathered the, quote, largest, hottest group of virgins ever assembled as they search for intimacy, love, and maybe their first time. So in other words, now it's like great to be a virgin again? It's like,
No, but we totally we forgot a spoiler in all this. Colton then later came out as gay, and he's now happily in a relationship with a man. So the co-host is Caitlin Bristow, who was the former Bachelorette, and she notoriously slept with 2 guys in her season. So they have the co-hosts themselves are interesting enough, and I think it's going to make it a little bit dicey. Like, there will be some encouragement to maybe push some boundaries,
what if people lied? Maybe they aren't even all virgins. How do you check? You can't. You can't check. They probably lie. Like in the movies of the Middle Ages where like they go in and there's a
white sheet.
There's a white sheet. And
they're going to be awkward though. Everyone's awkward when they're a virgin.
I don't like it. Tell us about yours.
I'll just say this. It's generally not impressive the first time. Like, nobody's blown away by the first time.
Well, unless you're with a guy who has some experience and knows his way around. All these are virgins.
Yeah, that's not gonna.
Yeah. But what's really
they might find love.
You know what? They need one of those, like the book you gave away for your Ladies Get Lit. Yeah. They need Sex for Dummies. Oh yeah. There is a book like that. There's a book called Idiots for Dummies. Idiots. And now I find out, just dummies. I mean, I'm just thinking when I was like in college, the girls who slept around were made other people looked askance at them. The virgins.
Wait, what?
They were, for example.
Wait,
I was a virgin until I got married.
I forgot. Back in the day, people preferred virgins.
But I missed the first part. Cares about it. What did you do? I was a virgin until I got married. And then you got divorced.
It means people.
No, but I that was 16 years later.
Judgmental.
But I was 22 when I got married, and I had.
And did the first
time live up to your expectations? No. It never did. She got a divorce 16 years later. I asked her for 16 years with the guy.
Long time.
It's not like
But did he
last
last
for 16 He learned a few tricks along the way. Can't tell. All right, here's another story. Any reality show drama pales in comparison to the real-life on and off relationship between Fleetwood Mac's Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham. Two incredible talents. If you don't believe me, just ask them. Watch.
Lindsay, what's your relationship with Lindsay?
Well, he's not my best friend. And never will be. Because we were those kind of lovers, you know. And when we broke up, it was awful, and it was nasty and bad. And so we can never really be good friends. We care about each other very much, but we don't hang out.
As far as you're concerned, you're not in the band because of Stevie.
That was what I was told by Irving. That she gave them an ultimatum. Either Lindsay goes or I go. Nothing would make me happier than if we were going to do something like a farewell tour. So maybe they'll get this out of their system, and maybe they'll realize that this wasn't really the right thing. And if you're asking me, would I be open? Yes, of course. I would say, yeah, let's do it.
Rumors, the perfect album. Let me tell you, I'm not done yet. He did something. The TikTok generation can't get enough of their love-hate relationship. It's on full display in this viral clip of Fleetwood Mac's hit Silver Springs. Take a look, then we'll talk.
I'm not waiting for a partner. I'm not ready.
Earlier this week, Stevie and Lindsay exchanged posts of lyrics from their 1972 song, Frozen Love, that read, "And if you go forward, I'll meet you there." That had social media buzzing about a possible reunion. Let's watch this clip.
This is like the most intertwined, twin flame, star-crossed lovers, deep fire in your belly, soulmate situation.
It turns out that the two were announcing the long-awaited reissue of their album Buckingham Nicks. Could this open the door for a reunion? And could you work with an ex even when things really ended bad?
If it sounded like that, I would, definitely.
Sounds like these two should have stopped thinking about tomorrow.
Yeah.
She knows that song.
No, you know, the bottom line is, you have to, like, listen to what she said. She was like, we were those kind of lovers. You know, and he just said, because he was like, I'd love to get back together. I don't really know what happened, why I'm out of it. He knows why he's out of it, because he did something. He did something. So that's so cute. That's the first thing. The second thing is, most relationships, I think, where you really in love and you love hard, they end badly. That's why they're ending. And so you need to put that in the back and move on. You can burn this thing, you can do whatever you need to do to get over it. And she is not over it yet. So they haven't that also happened to you. Remember they were a married couple and they would have an ABBA and then they would just jump. Yeah, exactly. One of the greatest bands of all time, and if you've ever gotten a chance to see them live, it is so worth it. You can't fight that chemistry that they have on stage together. It's unbelievable. They've given us great hits. I would love if they gave us a reunion together. They shouldn't go to, I mean, you don't know. When she sees him, she's going to be infuriated.
They played together for 20 With that kind of talent, they have to do it.